Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the Spose Podcast. I am Spose, and I made a theme song. This is the theme song. Okay, so welcome to, that's my theme song. It actually,
sounds great.
Actually, these guys didn't hear it, but because I haven't even made it yet, but I'm going to make it and it's going to be great. Anyways, my name is Spose. If you don't know me, I'm a rapper from Maine, and I've always wanted to do a podcast, and I've just put it off. And I always tell people who are like delaying something, like they're like, oh, I want to make it, or I want to do this, or it's like, fucking jump in the pool, right? Just go for it. And so I've put off, I have not jumped in the pool. I've been very fucking dry for a long time. I've been trying to make a podcast for like 6, 7, 8 years. And I just always find an excuse, like, oh, I don't have 3 mics. Oh, I don't have a mixing board. I don't really know how to get it on iTunes after I make the podcast. So, like, my excuse today when I was going to bail was, oh, I have a cold, because I have a cold right now. But then I decided that's just a fucking excuse. I need to jump in the pool. So for my first podcast, I have a cold, and I'm so stoked to be here. I got 2 guests. And before I bring them in, I came up with a segment I want to do, so I'm not going to bring you guys in yet. They're here, silent in the background. But I came up with an idea. I want to open every podcast with this segment. It's called Review an Album in 1 minute. So we're going to tell Siri, set a timer for 1 minute, and then I'm going to review an album. The album I'm going to review is Beach House 3 by Ty Dolla $ign. Siri, set a timer for 1 minute. You got to talk to her.
Your timer is set for 1 minute.
All right, here we go. So Beach House 3 by Ty Dolla $ign is fucking amazing. I heard this shit yesterday, and I'll be honest, I've listened to all the Ty Dolla $ign shit. Like, I listened to his last album and the one before, because one time I saw him playing bass. He's an R&B singer, if you don't know. And I saw him playing bass, and I was like, damn, that dude can play bass, and he's so good at bass. He plays, there's this one video, if you look it up on YouTube, with Ty Dolla $ign and Babyface. And Babyface is playing guitar, Ty Dolla $ign's playing like acoustic bass on a picnic table. And that endeared me to Ty Dolla $ign. So I listened to this album, Beach House 3. I actually saw some tweet that like dismissed it as like Ty Dolla $ign searching for a hit. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to listen to it. Then I listened to it. The shit is fucking fire. It's amazing. Ty Dolla $ign, if you don't know, does like commercial R&B, which I've always loved. I love like R. Kelly, but he molests children and pees on their face, so now I have to not like him, and he's old and kind of creepy now. New Ty Dolla $ign, if you haven't heard it, check it out. It's amazing. I specifically like the song With the Dream. That's 1 minute. Did it. Okay. So that's my 1 minute album review segment for the first time. So my 2 guests, I wrote up intros for you guys. So before you say anything, I'm going to introduce you. So my first guest is a skateboarder, a collector of foreign women, and a legendary music video director for such artists as Sean Price, Pete Rock, The Perceptionist, Sage Francis, Apollo Brown. I don't know how you say this. Spose. Is that it? Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Brown. Make some motherfucking noise.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, happy to have Jay Brown.
Not Perceptionist, but I wish. Yeah.
Didn't you do one for Mr. Liff and Acrobatic?
Oh, yeah, no, that's true, yeah.
Okay, you don't even know what you did. I know you better. I've been stalking you. My second guest is a legendary Maine songwriter. Well, I don't want to limit him to Maine. A legendary songwriter, singer, frontman, multi-instrumentalist, guitarist, the face and the penis of Maine's most successful band, the Rustic Overtones, the guiding force behind such bands as Paranoid Social Club, Armies, and now his new rap trio, Beards, with Poverty, I refuse to call him Tommy Kane, and Shane Rise. Ladies and gentlemen and people, Dave Gutter.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are my 2 guests. I wrote those up today. I was watching the kids all day, so I was like, oh, they fell asleep. What am I going to do? So welcome to the first episode of Spose Podcast, guys.
Thank you. I'm
stoked to have you here.
to be here on the opening.
These are like my homies, so like I figured I could coerce them to come down, so afterwards we could like drink beers and hang out and maybe make a song, maybe make the theme song to the podcast.
That's a good idea.
But either way, stoked to have Jay and Dave, and the main reason I wanted to bring them here is because we as a group have a crazy story. Like one crazy thing happened to us, and I figure we could describe that for the people who, because I never really have told. I've told it on like another podcast one time, like that wasn't mine, but like the people don't know.
I've told everybody.
I've also told everyone.
I've told the story like 7,000 times.
Me too. Me too.
I'm like, nice to meet you. Oh, this one time.
yeah. So this is our crazy
It'll
story.
be a movie one day.
But
for
before
sure.
we get into that, I got like some questions just for the homies. So, let's see. Can we talk about the album in a day? Because you guys were both there when a couple weeks ago, October 6th. I gathered a bunch of people. We made an album in a day. It's out now. You could go stream it on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, fucking jerk off to it wherever you listen to music. But Jay Brown was there. Jay, talk about your involvement.
Yeah, that was an incredible day. Basically, do I call you Ryan or Spose?
You could call me Ryan or Spose. I figured that was going to come up actually pretty quick in the first episode because actually everybody asked me that. They're like, do I call you Ryan or Spose? Even if I walk into like a venue, the promoter, and I'm like, well, my friends call me both. So you could call, like Cam calls me Spose.
Huh.
You know, so call me whatever you want.
Well, I'm used to calling
Interchangeably to the listeners, I am Ryan and Spose.
When I want to like name drop, if it's someone would be impressed, I say Spose.
If it's like a 12-year-old
just
girl,
like,
you're
yeah,
like, it's Spose.
Yeah.
But if it's
Oh
like
yeah,
the
I was
homies,
just on the phone with Spose.
she's like, that's too
If I was
bad.
like Ryan, they'd be like, oh,
All right.
dad.
So Jay was at Album in a Day.
I was in charge of just documenting the whole process, and it was incredible. And I just want to go on record and say that there was no smoke and mirrors. It was, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to kind of fabricate something like this. You can like be like, yeah, we did this in a day, but write a bunch of verses and come up with a bunch of ideas prior to it and then just like lay it all out that day. But there was nothing on the table, at least when I showed up, I mean, which was right at the beginning.
You were there before. You met me at friggin' Starbucks in South Portland before we got there.
That's right. And there was no concepts in place, no verses, nothing at all. So Ryan had like, I don't know, like 35 different people show up around that number. I'm not sure, but it was the most efficient I've ever seen a human being in my life. There was like at the Halo, which for everyone who doesn't know, it's like the dopest music recording studio in the Northeast, and every closet and nook and cranny of this place was a studio, and Ryan was like bouncing from door to door, being like, "Hey, I just got this idea. Why don't you guys do this?" And then go to another room and be like, "Oh, I got this other idea, and that actually works with the other idea I thought before." So we went back to the other room and was like, "Yo, guys, this is a new thought here," and like it was just the best demonstration of organized chaos I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it was an organizational, even like dating back to the first email, which I sent to Dave, you know, and a bunch of other, you know, musicians who I know could kill it and people I've worked with before. So there's no like communication gap. But like, as far as the organization goes, thank you. And as far as the smoke and mirror shit, I definitely did see some local haters on Facebook debating that, or like, oh, it'd probably be a piece of cake to make an album with 35 of the greatest musicians. I'm like, bro, you try to do something with 6 people. Tell me how that goes.
It's like herding cats,
it's like,
man.
And so the best part was, I think actually the only song on the album, maybe there are 2 songs on the album that did not begin with my idea. Those are Shame on You, that Dave and Channing came up with, and Boston Kyrie, which started as but Boston Kyrie even was me telling Polly Beats, like he kept making beats. I'd go up to they were in the littlest nook. You know, they were like, like literally like the closet Harry Potter lives in under the stairs was like where they were making beats. And I'd go in there and he'd play me something. I was like, you know, and it just wasn't it yet. And then finally the last beat he made ended up being Boston Kyrie. But I say that to say every track, you know, because there's haters, there's doubters, there's skeptics. Every track on that album, except for those 2, I started. Like, I went in and I was like, what if it was this? You know, and I was like, what if we make a track called Humans? And in the hook, in the chords are like, ding, ding. You know, I was like, I don't know what it'll be, but like,
you sang through like a lot of the progressions and hooks throughout the day. The coolest thing about that whole session was that it gave me a whole new perspective on overthinking things. I've approached projects since then. I was telling Jay on the way down here that it's now just, I don't know, you don't have to take so long. You don't have to overthink everything. If you just put something down and you let come out what is there, you learn from it because it's forever. You put out a record, that's forever. So you learn something from it, but also, you know, I don't know. It's just a good way to approach music, not overthinking it, just getting through stuff when the ideas are super fresh.
Yeah.
And as far as the concepts went, that was an amazing. I didn't even think of that. I didn't know that you would be coming up with concepts. But once you gave people the concept, like this is the dialogue we're going to be talking about, and we need to work on the soundtrack. And then that was really cool.
Yeah, I one of my favorite, I think I'm trying to do a podcast down the line that actually we're going to do it at the Halo and bring in everybody. At least most everybody, and just kind of talk about the whole process. So we'll get more into the album in the day down the line. But Humans out now, lots of fucking amazing music that we didn't overthink. Although I will say, like, there were certain things I was like, damn, wish I could just rewrite this as it would. But I do love that we stuck to the script. Of like, this is it. Whatever we make in this day is the album.
It was the most activity Wyndham has ever seen.
Yo. I will say,
I grew up in that area.
You grew up in Wyndham?
So well, I grew up right around the corner from Halo, but it was in Gorham, but not too far from there. So there was I brought a lot of activity there.
Nice.
Yeah.
For people who are listening to this and don't live in Maine or don't even know where Maine is, I found when I was in the UK, like they're like, where is that near Cape Cod? And I was like, Wyndham's about 15 minutes outside of Portland, which is like our biggest city. Not the capital though. Shout out to Disgusta. Although Augusta has I saw like a brewery pizza place that doesn't look like trash now. So like.
Oh, Kushner.
On the way. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my homie, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You give him a shout out on the Spose Podcast.
Shout out Toby Parkhurst.
We don't have any sponsors, so like sometime down the line we'll be sponsored out. We'll be sitting in like Lazy Boys, sponsored by Lazy Boy. Okay, so you guys are both. I'll skip that question. I got a bunch of questions. This is an easy one. What was the last movie you saw that you were like, wow, this shit is fucking bad? I'm just kidding. Mine was Zoolander 2. Was the worst shit I've seen, and I'm not even a hater.
I just watched. This is a super rare one, but I just watched Cube 2. I don't know if you're familiar with the Cube series.
Is it a horror movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't watch that
It's
shit.
like psychological horror.
Dave loves that shit.
Cube 1 was actually all right. It was pretty good for its time. It was pretty fresh concept. Cube 2 was garbage.
Okay. Fuck Cube 2.
Well, it's funny. It is like just past Halloween, but I also watched Leatherface, the new installment of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series.
Sucked.
Yeah, it was done by one of the dude that did that movie Inside. You ever see the movie Inside? It's the most grisly horror movie ever. But no, it was very, very terrible.
Okay, so fuck sequels, I think, is the lesson we can garner from that. Okay, so you're sitting on a plane, and the person next to you is not a disgusting, gross, smelly, sick person eating fucking Jolly Ranchers the whole time, even though they're sick and coughing on you. Anyways, so you're sitting on a plane, and they're cool. And you start talking, and they're like, so what do you do? And you start telling them, and they're like, wow, that's like so fucking sweet. They're so intrigued by you. And they're like, could you show me? What would you show them if you had to show them one thing you've done? For Jay, I assume a music video, and it can't be your reel. It can't be like can't be the reel. And for Dave, I assume like a song.
Wow, that's tough. I just want to go ahead and say the sound of eating Jolly Ranchers is perpetuous.
Dude, I was on the plane with this chick, and she's that's the reason I'm sick, is she was coughing and sneezing on me the whole time. And she was American, and we were both coming back from the UK, so I was like, oh, an American. And she even was listening to the Sneaker Pimps on her, like, iPod or something, and I was like, yo, the Sneaker Pimps? Like, I haven't even thought about them, forever. And then she proceeds to cough on me for 7 hours, and she didn't eat, like, medicine. She ate Jolly Ranchers. It's like, that's not going to help you. Anyways, you have to show them one thing. They're like, okay, Jay Brown, show me what you do.
Honestly, there's a video that...
and you don't have to say a Spose video because I'm here. I know it's probably not.
No. There's plenty of Spose videos I'm super proud of. But there's this new goddamn Chan video that hasn't been released yet. Yes. But I'm super proud of that. It's the first real music video that I've tackled with my business partner since we started this company, Rove. And
what's the Instagram?
The Rove Lab. The Rove Lab.
Rove Lab.
Yes. So we joined forces, and that was one of the first projects we did.
It's fire. I've seen it.
It definitely showcases his cinematography. I was trying to think of the adjective.
You don't know that word?
Cynicism.
Is that an essential word?
It shows his. I know, right? I should know that. It shows his cinematography capabilities, and I went pretty hard.
You crushed it,
animation wise. So that's something I think is probably
okay. So Jay's on the plane. Shows her a video of people drinking bleach. Dave, what do you got?
I'm usually the person that shows people what I'm working on like right then. It's like the thing that's most current is I'll probably like pull out a piece of paper and like read it to them rather than like play.
Dude, you would. Whenever I mean, so Dave, just to give some context, like Dave's a couple years older than me to the point where I grew up like idolizing Dave along the lines of like Eddie Vedder, Billy Corgan, but like less like more. Dave's like more attractive than them.
These guys are
no
losers.
homo. And so, yeah, exactly. I knew Dave would think the front men of the biggest rock bands of the century are losers.
Spose,
compared to
main
Dave.
Rapper, akin to MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice.
So I met Dave and like I'm like fangirling out, but Dave's like, yo, check out this song I've been working on. It's about drugs, and it's like, oh, I'm high on all these different things. It's like, and so he's it's true to say that is what you would show him.
On the way here,
I was trying to
me a bunch of music that he's
I was trying to
on.
bait you into like picking a favorite song.
If I had to
made.
encapsulate something to show that I felt like represented me, it would be probably the "Show Must Go On" video.
Okay. By the
'cause
Rustic
that song,
Overtones.
Yeah, it's a rustic tune, and I feel like the video is cool, but it has pretty much everything I like. It's got like a hip hop like breakbeat vibe to it. It's got horns, and I'm really like proud of the lyrics.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah,
Rustic Overtones, Show Must Go On. Look it up, and in the future, look up the Jay Brown video.
featuring
If I had to
Sarah
pick,
Hallie Richardson.
oh, Sarah Hallie Richardson. Can I just point this out today? Sarah Hallie Richardson is an insanely talented singer, right? She's so good, and but she's also like. Every time I see her, she's like out with her parents having ice cream, and her parent, or like she's just like a little kid who grew up.
She's wholesome.
Yeah, she's very wholesome. So today she posted this shit on Instagram that was like her doing carpool karaoke, singing the Ariana Grande song "Side to Side," which I think is about getting banged so much that you are now walking side to side,
Right.
because the penis. All I could think was like Sarah Hallie Richardson has no idea what this song is about if she's singing this. Okay, anyways, let's see. I got a few more questions before we get into this story. So, Chan, goddamn Chan, who is no longer with us.
Miss you, buddy.
Dave, by the way, my laugh and my cough sounds like I smoked like 30 cigarettes laced with like heroin and AIDS. So if I cough and laugh like that. I thought you were going to smoke a butt in my office. I was like, come on,
I thought
Dave.
so, too. I was like,
Yeah, I was like, damn, Dave, that's audacious right on the podcast. So that's what my sick cough sounds like. But so Chan and I were out in Bristol, England, right? A couple days ago. We played our last show of our UK tour. And Chan and I have toured the United States a couple times. We've worked together in Maine a lot. We played maybe, I don't know, maybe like 100 shows together or so. I spent a lot of time with Chan. Been in the van with Chan. Like, whatever. So Chan and I got in our first argument.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Scary dude to get in an argument with. Chan can talk shit, man.
Yeah, Chan's like known locally as like a shit talker. Like he'll say the shit nobody else will say about everybody. They're like, man, this guy's music is garbage, and he'll just say it, which is great because everybody's thinking it.
Someone needs that guy.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
their
yeah.
scene. It's
So Chan is that guy. But so me and
Can I
Chan,
just grab another one of these?
yeah, grab a we got Heineken's because no brewery sponsored us yet. But so shout out to Heineken. But Chan and I got in our first argument as we're packing up from the last show of the tour. So like we're dapping everybody up, saying thanks, giving hugs to Lars's tour manager, everybody taking pics, and me and Chan the whole time are in this argument in front of everybody. And did you have any idea what this argument was about?
None whatsoever.
This pissed Chan off to know, like, he's just so pissed. This is what I said that pissed him off. I said, quote unquote, Nicki Minaj is underrated, is what I said.
And he got mad.
He got so
heated,
mad.
Huh? Whoa.
Wow.
Do you feel like that's a justifiable reason to be in a fight with your doormate?
Well, no, I mean, I could see why he had emotions about it, but I agree with you.
And it's at
You
the end
agree
of the
that she's
tour.
underrated?
It's at the end of the tour. Like, you guys.
Yeah, it was
probably
supposed
are,
to
like,
just be a bro
tired
down.
and-
Let's have a.
yeah.
Well, we had even got this awful like England weed from a fan up in Scotland, and we had a blunt. We were gonna smoke it. We couldn't wait. By the way, worst blunt, worst weed ever. No offense, Callum, who did hook that up, but like that shit is awful over there. But so me and Chan were all excited. We just finished the tour, and we're in a fight. Like we're in a legit argument. It's to the point where it's getting awkward, And but it was because I said Nicki's underrated, which I know is a controversial thing to say. How do you feel about Nicki Minaj? Underrated or overrated?
Underrated.
Ooh,
Underrated.
wow! Suck it, Chan. I know. Shout out to Chan. I love Chan. It's a real testament to me and Chan's friendship that we had not been in an argument in years until this moment. So we get to London the next day. We go to dinner at like a bowling alley diner, and we couldn't bowl because they were like, "No, you don't have a reservation." And so Chan gets us one. Eventually, we bowl. I beat him first game. He beats me second game. We're sweating balls for some reason, and we leave. But so we got in an argument again at dinner about Nicki being underrated. Basically, my argument as far as Nicki Minaj being underrated, she's not underrated sales-wise or commercially. I think she's underrated as a rapper. Like if you're listing all the rappers of the past 10 years, nobody's gonna say her name. Nobody's gonna mention her. Meanwhile, she's got one of the most like elastic voices in the world. Can do 50 different things, kind of like a Kendrick in a way. Like not the same thing, but like all the different voices. Very successful. Can sing. Can write. Can rap. I don't know. That's just my take. Jay?
As a female rapper, what she's been able to accomplish is undeniable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I stand in
Okay.
the matter. Like, I'm not the type of dude to throw on Nicki Minaj.
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not like listening to her all the time either.
Right.
But like, I just feel like she doesn't get the respect she deserves.
What she's been able to do is just, I mean,
I'm
respect.
actually in it for her as a rapper, like the deep cuts where there's no chorus.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
It's just like pounding like house music, and she's just spitting. Like I love her voice. I love how she came out of the gate. She slayed everybody on Monster.
On
in my
Monster.
opinion.
Like the rest of that
slayed.
song is borderline unlistenable besides the part where Kanye's like, put the pussy in a sarcophagus. Like, but which is dope. But like Nicki, I mean, she slays everybody on this song. It's legend. Every girl knows that verse. It's like, I don't know. In the rankings of female MCs of all time, I think you could make an argument for her up there with your Lauryn Hills and your, I don't know who else you're going to put up there,
what was Chan's argument? I'm curious.
He says she's overrated and she just does pop records, really, I think was Chan's argument. I don't want to paraphrase for him. He can come on someday and refute on the Spose Podcast episode 69, but
that double record she put out was like, one was pretty much his bars and one was all hit songs.
yeah. So anyways, Nicki, shout out to Cardi B though, who we all appreciate, I think as well, but like shout out to Nicki. So, and shout out to goddamn Chan. I love you, Chan. No homo. Let's see.
For real, I would never want to get in an argument with that dude.
With Chan?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
and I'm
scary,
also
man.
like very annoying to get in an argument with because I just don't ever like
Let up.
I don't ever like admit that I am wrong. My wife even pointed out to me recently that like I bestow this onto my kids. Like I just can't be wrong. When in all reality, it's like I'm just wrong and I'm defending that I'm, whatever. So anyways, this is a last question. This one might be a dud, but it might be a banger. I don't know. I'm new to interviewing. So you both, because I know you and I've talked to you, we've hung out, we're driving in the car, we're telling stories. I know you both have some kind of legendary New York City stories. New York City being like the closest big city to us, in Maine. I went down to New York and, signed a record deal. That's probably maybe my big story. Not that the story has to be successful. Shitty story or like bad stories are probably even better. But like, do you guys have any legendary or just crazy New York City stories? Tell me if you do. I think you both do.
Yeah. Dave, you want to go first?
Yeah. I did a show like kind of last minute. I was down there for like a writing session, and it was at some champagne like private party, and it was with Eric Krasno, and
Who's a genius?
I had just written a bunch of songs with him, so I knew a bunch of the stuff on guitar. I knew some of the backup vocals. So I didn't know that like dudes from the Amy Winehouse band would be playing the tunes. And so I played that show and got to play with them, like some of my favorite musicians ever. And then Donald Fagen from Steely Dan, who I'm not really a big fan of, but I've heard that they're very famous.
Which mic? Hang on. I got to turn Dave's mic up. Which mic? Talking to your mic, Dave? Check.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
All right. Dave's mic's up a little bit. We might edit this part out.
So I was at this champagne party in New York, and I was playing with Eric Krasno and the cats, like the Dap Kings cats that play with Amy Winehouse. And it was pretty amazing. It was just like a last-minute gig I ended up doing. And then I got really, really drunk with the drummer. And I don't know, I got kicked out of all kinds of places. This is probably not actually as good of a New York story.
I was gonna say, like,
there's
I
New
mean,
York stories
I'm
that are
ju-
flashing to my head right
just
now.
to throw like a aside out there to the listener. Dave Gutter, who's telling this super humble story, has been in New York City in the studio with David Bowie.
That's
like
true.
has done, you have you told me a crazy story one time about you played with like De La Soul or something, or who was it you played?
Yeah,
with?
we did. Well, we got
But
booed
you got
off the
booed off
stage.
stage because
Yeah.
it was like a hostile
It-
environment.
Well, it was like it was just outside New York in Danbury, Connecticut, and it was like Rustic opening for Foxy Brown, De La Soul, and I think somebody else. But they didn't want.
They were not They did not
didn't
want that right
us
there.
at all.
Well, and I've been in those scenarios before where you're just like, I'm not giving these people what they wanted right now. You know, it's
Yeah.
like sometimes you'd be better just plug in the aux cord and play some.
We did all kinds of weird tours, and it's not about New York or whatever. We did weird tours with like Run DMC and Steel Pulse. It was like
Wow.
we were playing like opening for them on Bob Marley's birthday, and it's Black History Month, and
Here's
it's
a-
like this super like there's this giant like speech about Ja right before we go on,
And
and they're like,
here's-
"Are you guys ready for roots reggae music?" Like there's no other music that can soothe our soul. They're just they're preaching it up, and then we have to go on.
You
But
get
that's
there.
the story of my life. But there's so many crazy stories from New York.
It just breeds crazy.
It's hard to pinpoint.
Jay, what's your story?
I mean,
If
I
you
guess
had to pick one,
oh man.
I can think of two that are crazy that you've told me.
Well, the one that sticks out to me the most isn't necessarily crazy as in shit going wrong and like all kinds of pandemonium happening. It's more just a wild experience that is my mic low too?
I think you're just talking like a fetus.
I'm kind of sick too. So
Hang on, I
can
can turn you up. I can check your mic. Talk.
Hello. How you doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Check 1 2. Check.
There you go. Okay. We're
Okay.
good.
So my crazy story from New York, probably not crazy, but just sort of one of the more memorable moments would be when I was shooting a music video for 730 on Mellow Music Group, and Sean Price was
This is a story I was hoping you were going to tell.
he was the featured artist. So it was a really simple concept. It's like an older music video that we did. And we had to get Sean Price to the location. First of all, God rest that dude's soul.
Yeah, rest in peace, Sean P.
Yeah.
I miss that guy.
Me and Chan were just in Scotland the other day. We listened to this posthumous album that they put out after he died, which is the Imperious Rex,
Imperious Rex.
which is fire. We also listened
and
to
songs in the key of Price too. Also was like a, oh my God, man.
shout out to Sean P. Sean P. like Pusha T. I would like to put them in the Hall of Fame, the all-time Hall of Fame
Yeah.
of rappers on stage with bugged-out eyes. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you've ever seen.
Very good point. Yeah,
I don't know if
never
you ever
thought
seen,
about that.
I don't know if you ever seen Pusha T from the Clips, or he's now just Pusha T, the solo rapper. But like, I loved the Clips back in the day. I saw him a bunch of times, and every time, Malice is doing
He's in
his
it,
thing,
dude.
But
He's in it.
Push's eyes are letting you know, like, this bar is serious.
This is happening.
And Sean
Yeah.
P, I saw Sean P a couple times, and it was the same deal. Like and I'll kind of do it too when I'm rapping. I'm like, I'm mad at the audience.
Channel.
Like, you don't respect this line. Like,
Man,
and so
funny. I have never seen Sean Price live. So but get this, I had to go. So we called a cab service for him, or a car service, pickup service, to get him to the location to shoot. And it's like 10 o'clock at night, and we're shooting in Brooklyn, and Sean Price lives in Brownsville.
Which is not like Brooklyn.
No, it's not. It's Brownsville's not.
It's not like Urban Outfitters, Brooklyn.
No. And we're waiting. We'd shot everything except Sean Price's segment, and we're like, wow, this dude's like, what's going on? He's not here. So we call him, and he's like, yeah, man, some car came to pick me up, and I just was like, fuck you. Like, who are you? And he's like, I didn't recognize him, so I sent him home. And we were like, well, dude, that's the car service we sent to get you. And
this is like pre-Uber too. This is like a couple years ago.
This was a long time ago. And so for those of people who don't understand, like, shooting hip hop videos is very touch and go. It's kind of hard to sometimes lock down certain artists or locations. It's very guerrilla style. I mean, at least this type of stuff was. Not all hip hop videos, but the situation I was in. So I, being a huge fan of this dude, was like, I'm gonna drive to Brownsville and pick this dude up at a hot night in
Brooklyn,
in Brownsville in the summer, in the middle of the summer. So I think at the time my car like had died or something, and I was borrowing my mom's like silver Volvo with like a Susquehanna University sticker on the back of it. I just like might as well have worn a fucking bullseye.
Can
I swear?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Can I swear on the Spose podcast? I might even just call it the fucking Spose podcast.
Spose podcast. So,
but like, there's a Mobb Deep line that sums up exactly what you're describing. It's like, it's on the Mobb Deep G Unit album where they're like, it's like, I got homies who ain't ate all day, and you're coming through the hood straight dangling steak. It's like talking about a dude coming through in a new, what's that, 2006?
I mean, that was me. That was me.
And so Jay pulls up, looking like steak.
I rolled over there with Gensu Dean. Shout out to Gensu Dean, one of the illest dudes alive. He was like, I'll roll with you. We'll go pick him up. So we drive to Brownsville, immediately realize we have to run all of the red lights because you cannot stop in Brownsville
at a red light.
At 10 o'clock at night. We're like driving through the hood.
There's a lot of places where that's the case.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely an environment that felt like I felt that vibe. And so we're driving through there. It's crazy, and all of a sudden, let me rewind for a little bit. I remember Sean Price. The only thing he wanted to be in this video was like $80 so he could get a haircut and buy a new shirt, which I thought was the illest.
Like, he wanted you to pay him?
No, the label. I think the label's like, what do you need to be in this video? We want to have you in this video. And most people in his position could be like, I want X amount of dollars.
5 G's.
Right. And they'd be like, okay. But he was like, I want $80 because I need to get a haircut and a new polo, which I was like, man, this dude is even fucking cooler than I thought. I was just, so anyways, we roll up to his place, and he's just leaning against the fence in like a brand new white polo, white shorts, white hat, just like kicked back, like, one leg up, arms leaning on the fence, like talking to his wife outside. And I was just like, oh my God, that's Sean Price. And like, I typically don't get super starstruck, but around this dude, I just froze up. Like, we pulled over. Gensu got out of the car, was like, come on in, man. He gets in the Sean gets in the car. He sits in the front seat. His wife sits in the back seat. His homie sits in the middle. Gensu's behind me, and Gensu's like, "Yo, this is the director Jay." And Sean Price is like, "Yo, what's up, director Jay?" And like slaps me on the back. Yes. And I just like almost hit my head against the steering wheel because this dude is a Goliath.
He's a big man.
And
He's a big man.
And I just was like, "Oh my God, it's so nice to meet." I just couldn't find the words to express how happy I was to be sitting next to this dude in the car. So we drive to the spot. He crushes his part in the video, which was all good times. And then afterwards, he's like, hey, can you give me a lift somewhere? I got to be somewhere, and I don't want to call a cab. And I was just like, I didn't say this out loud, but I'm like, anything to keep hanging out with Sean Price.
Yeah. Well, and also you're in the hood, and you are.
No, we were shooting in Brooklyn, so we drove back to Brooklyn, different part to Bushwick.
Okay.
So we drove back to a way more chill area, and we shot everything. He's like, we're like, cool, let's go back to, I'll drive you wherever you need to go. And he's like, okay, cool. Hops in my car. His wife hops in behind him, Bernadette. His friend hops in next to her and me. And he looks at me with those wide eyes, and he's like, "You want to hear some stuff I'm working on?" He pulls a Dave Gutter. He's like, "You want to hear some shit I'm working on?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, man, totally." And he's like, "You got an iPhone thing?"
Yeah.
I was just like, "Yeah, sure, man, here." And I like he plugs in his iPhone and like turns the music up. And it's funny how earlier I said I've never been to a Sean Price show. This dude played songs that he had been like unreleased Sean Price music from where we were to where I had to drop him off, which was like a 30-minute drive the whole way, and rapped super loud right next to me in the car, like performed the whole like he'd start songs over because he was hyped on him. He's like, "Man, did you hear that shit? That shit was dope. Let's play that again."
So good.
And like start the song over, and like his homie would do all the ad libs behind me in the car.
Well, and his wife
I like look in the rearview mirror, and his wife's just like shaking her head on the phone, like, "Oh my God, Sean,"
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Oh my God, I'm getting a fucking private Sean Price show right now."
This is crazy.
I was geeking out, and I so badly wanted to like slip my phone out and like just record,
Start filming it.
but I was so scared. Dropped him off,
That's amazing.
dapped him up, and unfortunately, we'll never see him again.
Rest in peace.
God rest his soul, rest in peace, and yeah, Sean Price forever.
Side note, his wife, I didn't know who it was because I didn't know his wife's name when I listened to the Imperious Rex. His wife raps on the album.
Yeah, and his daughter,
Okay, because it was
Shauna.
Okay,
Yeah.
what a great name,
Yeah.
Shauna Price.
There's an adorable video of his daughter rapping at the Duck Down barbecue.
Oh, really?
And he's on stage with her, and he gives her the mic, and she like spits like a few bars.
So dope.
It's one of the coolest things ever.
Great story. So I baited you guys. So I was able to bait you both into dope stories. I think my success as an interviewer can now be measured. Dave.
Oh, and also, just a little like tail end of that story. I don't know if you guys know who this is, but I think it was the same weekend that I went skating the next day, and I saw Bobby Pulio at the skate park. Or just skating from the skate park, which is like the fucking unicorn of skateboarding. And that also one of my favorite skaters. I didn't say hi to him or anything. He's another person that I would not be able to talk to. And it was like one of the craziest weekends ever.
I don't know who that is.
You don't or do?
Do not.
Oh yeah, he's just
I don't either, but I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah, no, but he's just. I mean, he's not like a
Well, you're a
mainstream
skater.
dude. He's not.
Yeah.
He's more.
I know,
behind
like
the scenes,
what
but-
does
I
he
know
do?
like all the people.
He's a
who are on-
skateboarder.
Oh, okay.
I know all the people who are on Tony Hawk Pro Skater too.
Yeah, this is
I know
more
Bob
like
Burnquist.
iconic like street.
I had the
skateboarder.
Eric Costins. Like that's pretty much my like sellout like skateboarder perspective.
Eric Costin's dope though.
I forgot in New York, I stayed up all night with Flavor Flav once.
Wow.
Me and Zoidus.
He
did.
could have just thrown the
Holy
clock in the
shit.
trash. Like the time just kept
He
going.
needed to borrow a bass,
What?
and they came to our studio. They're like, they need a bass for Studio B, and I was like, well, we don't know them. We'll have to go and oversee the session. And we get there, and it's Flavor Flav and like some passed out girl on a couch.
You're like, take a couple bases. Boat a food truck.
Oh yeah, they got a food truck.
Right now.
Okay, so this next segment is sponsored by. I'm just kidding. We have no sponsors. Hit us up, sponsors. We would love to.
Kushnog.
Shout out to anybody who wants to give us money. I don't really want your products. I don't want to pretend. I'm like, wow, this mattress. And I also don't know if I can fit. You know, I don't know if you listen. I listen to a bunch of podcasts. Do you guys listen to any at all?
Yeah.
No.
So I listen to them all the time, and they always try to weave in these like promos for their sponsors as if they're not promos. They're like,
Right.
I got the best night's sleep last night, Jay. And they're like, oh, yeah? Where'd you sleep on? You're like, it was a Sealy Posturepedic. You know? Like, I just don't know if I could
I was
fake
at
it.
Bob's Discount Furniture the other day, and
Man,
jeez.
their
I got
products, their
this.
prices, especially this weekend when we've got the holiday Veterans Day, Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt blowout sale on sofas in the pit. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to fake it if we do have sponsors. So I might just be like, yo, this is an ad, bitches, and then say the ad. All right. So the reason I lured you guys here for the first episode is because we have like a story. So
That we do.
I will start the story and we can all tell it.
Ryan tells a really nice version of the story, though, so I've heard.
Well, I brought us all so we could tell, because we all have different perspectives on this story. So last year, my booking agent, Cody, shout out to Cody, forwards me, although Cody's got me in some weird situations, so also shout out to Cody. Cody, this is one of the weirdest. So Cody forwards me this email. He's like, got this crazy offer for you to go do a concert in New Mexico on a weed farm, and they're gonna fly you out there.
Ryan didn't tell this to anyone until a
this
few
part.
days before.
You just said New Mexico. I
Yeah.
knew.
Okay, so I knew we were flying out to New Mexico, and I thought it was on a weed farm. So I'm like, all right,
You said weed farm actually.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
So-
that's right. We had that.
That was part of the pitch.
So,
too.
so I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the money there. I mean, I'll just be straight up. They're giving me like $3,000 or something like for the show. And so I was like, $3,000, sweet. I was like, let me use some of that money to bring my bros. So I invited Jay Brown because Jay's a video director, and I figured we could squeeze in a video, which we did. You could go. We'll talk about it later. I invited Dave Gutter because Dave can sing and play guitar, and I just like having him around, and he makes me look better. And I invited Goddamn Chan because he's my DJ. So me, Goddamn Chan, Jay Brown, Dave Gutter, we all go to. Did we fly out of Portland or Logan? I don't remember. I don't remember where we flew out of.
Yeah,
well, first of all, I was with these guys the night before
at Oxbow.
when you had given us limited information, and him and Chan were like working up this crazy.
It was my
paranoid
30th birthday. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right. Happy birthday, Jay.
Thank
All
you.
right,
I mean, my 26th birthday.
and these guys were all like, "Man, I don't know what we're getting into. What's this like? New Mexico." I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be fun."
Yeah, Dave was
It's
like, "Oh
whatever."
man, it's no big deal, man.
Well,
It's
'cause
gonna
it
be chill."
It turns out I was wrong.
Yeah, it was not. So basically, I told these dudes we were flying to El Paso, Texas, because there's no airport near where we're going, right? So we fly to El Paso, and we just knew we had to drive hours into the desert, is all we knew. So I booked us a hotel. Actually, they booked me a hotel as close to to where we're going as possible. And we get into El Paso, and we can't get our the rental car guy's gone. It's this awkward, we just want like a beer or something. There's no beer. And so we leave El Paso and we start driving into the night.
Man, you should do like audio book recording
On the
stuff.
4th of
Yeah.
December.
We start driving into the night.
We got pulled over twice at this point, though.
Yes.
I
by
forgot
now-
about that.
By now, I, who am always fucking driving, someday I'll have a driver like Sean Price, who am always fucking driving, I got pulled over on the way to the airport in New Hampshire, got a speeding ticket. And then
From the airport.
I got a speeding ticket in the middle of the desert in New Mexico by a state trooper who pulled me over. He's like, do you know how fast you're going? I was like, I have no fucking clue what the speed limit is here, dude. I've been up for like 20 hours. I'm just trying to get to, they're like, where are you going? I was like, I don't really know. And he gave me a speeding ticket.
Can we talk about the situation we were in too?
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that
yeah.
regard?
Explain. Yeah, yeah. So, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, we had stopped.
Just tell it how it
yeah.
is.
All
I
right.
think we should tell it how it is.
We had stopped at some convenience store or gas station, and we're like, we need to get some beers.
It was 7-Eleven.
Was it? No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, right by the El Paso airport.
So we got beers there, and we're like, we can passengers can drink while in the car because it's Texas, right?
You can drive.
Is that real
with, like,
though,
one beer,
or is
yeah.
that?
I don't know. So I'm driving through New Mexico.
So
in the
we
middle
are
of the
we
night,
are like draining.
like a 30 rack.
Yeah, a lot of beers, and we get pulled over,
And we're like,
Dave-
stash the beers, hide the beers.
Dave, like a pro in the front seat, had the box of the container, the case of beers, and like had maybe like 18 empty cans in there, and like slowly slipped it under the seat. Chan and I were in the back seat with like an additional like 5 to 6 cans on each of like all around us, and we're like trying not to move while the cop was talking to us, because it would have just been the dead giveaway that there was. I mean, Ryan, for the record, was not wasted.
No, I don't. I'm not going to drink and drive.
No,
So
but all of us, I wouldn't say we were wasted, but all of us were like
crushing beers.
crushing beers. Yeah.
There was a tone of paranoia the whole time.
We were all
Every time
paranoid
something
and scared
happened,
the
like
whole
we got
time.
pulled over, it was like, all right, this is the crazy thing.
You got
that
asked out of the
happened.
car.
Yeah, he pulled me out of the car. It wasn't like I got
It's like,
pulled
can you
over.
step out of the vehicle, sir? And then all of a sudden, us
you
three in the car were like, dude,
Yes,
we're
you're all
fucked.
You were
right now.
bumping Mike Will Made It while the cop was at the window.
I
Like you didn't turn it down at all. You just like left it all the way.
you turn
out.
that
I
down,
thought that
sir?
was odd.
I think
gonna
when
look
you've
you up
already
real
got
quick.
pulled over once in the day, you're just like, whatever. And so, anyways, he makes me get out of the car. I get another speeding ticket. Then we're driving another like hour into the desert. I'm very tired at this point. We're all pretty tired. It's like 2 a.m. We've been up all day. I'm pretty sure I had to watch all the kids all day too. I'm like exhausted. And then we saw a sign, and you see these signs in Maine sometime. It's like deer crossing next 10 miles, or like you see them all over the country, you know, whatever, next 10 miles. And you see that sign and then you never fucking see the animal, right? We saw one of those signs. It was like elk or something next 10 miles. We saw fucking 500 elk.
Yeah, we did
It was
see a
like, and
shit ton of elk.
it's like,
Forgot about the elk.
it's like cars are coming through here, but really elk run this area. Like they're just
It was
I'm
like
glad
when
we're
you
having
see
this. I'm
smokers
glad-
at a thing that says like smoke here, and all the smokers are hanging out there. All the elk were by the sign.
Right.
that says elk.
hundreds,
Yeah,
like white. They're all white in the night.
I'm really happy we're doing this because I'm forgetting all these details because what
Dude, this shit is
happened,
crazy.
this all pales in comparison.
Yeah, this is all just little lead.
And then we're like, we almost hit an elk. That's the crazy thing that's going to happen. Nope.
No, so we get to the hotel. The hotel's packed. I don't know why the fuck. But we stay there and we wake up the next day, and the next day is the event, right? That we've been emailing about, and we have a contact dude we're supposed to reach out to. I forget, Trevor or something, I don't remember. And so
Shout out Trevor.
we do a little couple we're near Roswell, New Mexico, like about 40 minutes from there. And so we're driving around trying to find somewhere to film a video because I got Jay Brown. I was like, yo, it's gonna be dope. It's
We
gonna be
filmed at a couple spots.
I was like, there's gonna be cactuses and shit. There's
Right.
nothing. It looks awful. It looks
Yeah.
like Maine, you know, but like shittier.
Desert,
Like if Maine was, it looks, it
but
just
not
looks awful.
quintessential desert. Not like
Not sexy desert.
vast dunes of sandy hills. More just like sporadic bushes and cactuses and just
it looked gross.
Yeah, it was.
So there's
it was
nowhere
not-
to film a video.
yeah,
so
yeah.
so anyways, the next day we link up with this dude right after we do a little. We're driving around. We go to Walmart, whatever. And so this guy's like, yeah. Meet me here. Start driving up this road. I'll meet you. So somehow we start driving up the road and we meet it. He's like, hey, got sunglasses on. He's in a pickup truck and he's like, hey, it's me. So we're like, okay. So we start driving behind this guy, following him. And we start driving and we now have no service. It's
Yeah,
like,
cell phone service goes away.
we're like 10, 15 minutes from
There's
the
a
nearest
bunch of trees
city.
that were like burned down in a forest fire.
Oh, I was going to say, so we're coming around. We're now like deep, going around these canyons, around this corner. I have no idea where we are. I don't even know what town we're in. And then
no town. There was no houses.
Yeah,
There's
there's
nothing.
100
Nothing.
miles into.
Yeah, we're like
Nothing.
150 miles into the middle of New Mexico. And so we
At
have
some
no
random
cell
town that we're
service.
not going to mention.
And so the hills must have been a forest fire. The hills are all burnt out. There's just ashes of trees and like black, everything all up and down these hills and these dunes. And we're driving through it, following this guy. And
We're all like getting all sketched out in the car. Like,
And
where are we going?
where are we going?
What's
And
going on?
And we just keep going and going. So we're getting more and more sketched out, and we don't know where we're going. And Chan, Dave, and Jay are all super paranoid.
Yeah,
I-
we were freaking out.
They were all freaking out. They're like, what are we doing? Is this like a trap? Like, what, we don't know.
I think
so
you
finally,
actually, before the cell phone service went missing, you called the dude and you're like, so what's the deal? Like, are we going to like a weed farm? And he's
because
like,
I was trying to like assuage.
yeah, dude.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, we're going to a weed farm, dude. And
And that was it. That was it.
Yeah.
I want to say that I had foreseen all this when I titled the tour the Breaking Dad tour.
It was
On
very
Facebook.
Breaking Bad, like
'Cause it was
sketchier.
it was like that.
It was
So- So we get out to the weed farm. The weed farm is in a back road in the middle of nowhere with an like electric fence around it,
Electric
and a
barbed wire.
barbed wire fence,
security.
and is the only thing we'd seen for miles.
We had to take a turn off of the main road.
Yeah, we're now on dirt road,
Right.
And so they open the gate. We go in, we get there, and I was really relieved at this moment because
There was people there.
Well, there's people there. It's like a bunch of imagine like a compound with a bunch of different like garages looking like like a farm almost. And so there's a house and we park next to this dude still named Trevor for our purposes, and he's like, and so I got relieved at this point. Everybody else is still sketched out, but he's like, yeah, man, it's down there, and he pays me the $3,000 in cash in hundreds, and I'm like, dope.
Oh.
Well, I wasn't sketched out. I was like,
No. It was
like-
that was a positive.
I was like, came here to get the bag. So it's like, all right, cool, thank you. And so we go down, we set up. They actually have like a better stage and sound setup than most shows you play that are in random
shit was
fields. It
legit
was
as hell.
super. I mean, I played shows in real venues that had so they had legit sound, huge setup. There's a bunch of people there, and we realize it's their company picnic. It's like, your boss throws you a party, and they invited Spose because Spose is what they listen to when they jar the weed. You know, and so here we are. So I'm walking around shaking hands, kissing babies, meeting everybody, handing out CDs. I just got Good Luck With Your Life like printed, and I'm handing it. It doesn't come out yet. I'm giving it out to them. And so they start giving us weed, like giant, like foot-long joints, and like
cannon joints.
Yeah, huge
beers. They got catering. It's like, all right, this is dope. You know, I was like, all right, this is cool. And it's very, very nice day. You know, it's like.
There was like children.
Yeah, there's
that were
kids
coming
running
up and
around.
they were
Oh, yeah.
Like instead of like my kids, like, hey, look, I made this slime. But these kids were like, hey, look at this rare strain of marijuana I grew.
Dude, for real.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
so
this is my strand that I invented as a mini scientist. Like, it was crazy.
So this isn't even the crazy part. So like we play the show. You know, it's awkward as a show is with like 15, 20 people in lawn chairs out, but they still were having fun.
They were
they're
hyped.
dancing. There's a bunch of people. I mean, they're at
There's
their
a video
staff
out
party.
there. There's a video that
there might be a
exists.
video. We can send you. I'll link it. And I don't know if I can. I don't know. I don't know how to do podcasts. But so we play the show. Me and Dave actually did a cool little guitar. We harmonized.
We did harmonize
on alternative radio, or I forget, pop song or something. And so we play the show, and then Dave and Chan are doing a little set, and I walk off up to the car. And
Wait. Can we just pause real quick?
Yeah.
I remember going to the porta potty to take a piss, and this is after Ryan's set, and Chan and Dave were just up there just jamming, and I just, because Chan had been smoking these cannon joints the entire time.
The entire set.
And I remember being in the porta potty, and I just hear Chan being like, yo, thank you guys. I'm so high right now.
Yeah, but he said it to everybody, and it was one of those moments.
Over the
came out-
loudspeaker.
You came out, and I was like, damn, I wish we had the audio of that.
Oh, my God.
Yo, I'm going to take a time out to piss. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So we play the so we played the show. I walk up to the car. I remember I'm sweating and I'm super high, and I'm trying to get unhigh. And I was looking at my phone, and there's no reception, so I can't like text my wife. And it's the middle. I hate being like day drunk and day high. It makes you want to fall the fuck to sleep. For me, I know some people love that. I'm not one of them. So after a while, I remember the son, who's probably about 10 years old, of the owner, who's a 6 foot tall woman we will call Mariah.
Good call.
Mariah's son is about 10, and he lives on this weed farm, and he knows all about the weed, and he actually has a hat with weed on it. He's 10. I don't think he smokes weed.
about that.
I don't think he smokes weed, but his sister is a couple, maybe 12, and she raises animals and chickens on the farm in the compound. And so he comes up to me, and he's riding a dirt bike around. And he's like, hey, you want to try a dirt bike? And I'm like, yeah, why not? I'm drunk and high on a weed farm in New Mexico. Let me try. So I try, almost die. Don't die. Everything's fine. I didn't even fall, but like I was on the brink.
That was one of those other moments where I was just like, this is when the thing that
This
happens
is-
to
this
us.
is when
This is
it-
when it's going to happen. And it wasn't the
And
dirt
it
bike
wasn't.
either.
And I
they were
also
holding birds.
I was
We
gonna
were
say, I
dodging
also
all those
held,
bullets,
like, a
and
chicken.
the bullet was getting
We're holding
bigger.
birds, yeah.
Yeah, we held birds. Oh, I was
We
holding
held
a little.
birds, dude.
We did hold birds.
I forgot about the birds.
And you don't smoke weed, right?
Not anymore.
Did you then?
He did that day.
No, I didn't that
You
day.
didn't?
I
So
actually-
Jay's not even high.
No.
Jay has his camera though. He's been filming the whole day. So I'm just trying to get us up to this moment to contextualize this. So after a while, I ride the dirt
I
bike.
think you did.
I
Are
think
you a
I might have
cop?
actually.
Are you
I
a
think
cop?
Yeah.
Because you were acting like you
You
were
got me,
smoking.
man. You got me.
So we've been there a couple hours. We've been there like, I don't know, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. We played the show, packed it up. Everybody's
Wait.
giving us props.
Before you drop the bomb.
Yeah.
This is the part of the story that I think you don't give true justice to.
Okay, so we can all tell
But no, I'm saying this place felt
it was feeling weird.
okay. We'll
I
leave it
prefer
at that.
the exaggerated version as well.
Well, so these guys would say it was feeling culty.
I mean,
Yeah.
there was a compound where there was a bunch of people living.
The girl's name was like Sunshine. Or
Sunshine or
Rainbow,
Raindrop or
and she was
something.
like saying things like,
Mariah.
Mariah saved my
Mariah
life. This is
saved
my.
us."
Yeah, she's.
Felt
They're
weird.
telling us
Felt
that
weird.
they would
Kinda
be
thing.
nothing without this woman who is their boss and who employs them. And we saw there's no other real employment in the area.
There's
They
nothing.
worship her. She provides them with all this cool stuff, a cool job they get to brag about. You guys, I think I'm the only one of the four of us who does not use this word to describe it, but goddamn Chan, Jay Brown, and Dave Gutter would describe the situation as culty.
Well,
Cultish.
they
I would
lived
say
at
cult
their work.
characteristics.
They
I don't
lived
know.
at their work, and
I don't think they
that's
did.
their-
A lot of them.
A lot of
did.
them lived there.
A lot of them did.
Okay. So they're saying it's culty. So just to describe, so it is weird though. It's definitely getting weird at this point, and I think we were getting ready to leave.
No, they wanted to give us a tour of the facility.
Okay, but I
Before
think
we
before
left.
that we were trying to leave. Like we were
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
had
Okay.
left.
and
Sorry.
however,
Sorry.
we would need permission to leave because there's a gate.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah, right.
There's also guns.
there was guns.
There was
also
guns.
There's gun. I mean, it's a so,
There was okay. Well, I'll let you
I
go
will
for
say
a minute.
this:
Yeah.
a lot of those people, especially like I remember, like the groundskeeper guy, very nice dude, and like some nice people. I don't want
Everyone was super nice there.
Everybody was super nice to us and so appreciative and thankful that we came out to play because they, like I said, listened to Spose while they bag up the weed, and we were stoked when I met. I was like, "This is so cool! Thank you guys so much." I was profuse in my thanking, and so they pull up on a side by side, like a. You guys know what side by side is, I assume.
No.
Spose listeners,
No.
like
Like
an
fun.
ATV that you could like
Oh,
sit
yeah.
We were
a couple
there, but
people
I
on.
never
So they pull up on a side by side. Mariah and her husband, another nice guy.
We should call him Jake because Jake comes into play
I thought
too.
he was Trevor.
No, Trevor was our connect.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right.
So
the
Mariah
king.
and Jake pull up, and they're like, "Hey, you want to go on the tour of the compound?" And we're like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, all right, cool." So me and Jay Brown hop in the side by side with them.
Yep.
Jay's got his camera. He's like, "You're filming a little bit."
Kind
right?
of. No, they asked me not to film, but I didn't want to go back to the car and put my gear away.
Okay, so let's describe the tour. So we go on the tour and we get it. We go around and they're like, "Oh, this is a huge water tank."
There's fucking shipping containers burrowed into the side of the hills.
yeah.
It's
So
a
they
big-
got
This is a big facility.
It's
This
a
is
big
like
massive.
what's a
$1
facility,
million.
millions of dollars flows through here, and so basically to put it in layman's terms, we're dealing with like the weed kingpin of New Mexico.
And
Woman,
we
queen pin.
Googled on the way there. I was like, weed farm, I'm in. And then I was like, oh shit, weed is not
It's a
legal
federal
to
thing, and-
grow
yeah.
in New Mexico.
Yeah.
So we're from Maine thinking that it's all good because everyone can grow legally.
Right.
And there it's actually, we are in Breaking Bad situations here.
So we're going on the tour. They're showing us the water containers and the shipping, and they've got chickens and animals that
The experiment room.
Well, yeah. So we get to the
the
experiment.
dry way.
Well, no,
Yeah,
it is an
fantastic with
experimental
you and I.
weed room. It's like an outdoor greenhouse where they're growing strains of weed that, like, they don't know if they're gonna be
Right.
successful or not. So they're experimenting on different types of
Which
weed.
would be a whole facility here.
Yeah. So they got this greenhouse out here. They're doing that. And you take us in another room that it's like in my mind, it's like a 40-foot long hallway with like must
so
be like
much,
must
so
be like
much.
1,000 pounds of weed every couple square feet as you're walking
It was
through
a giant
here.
warehouse that was reduced to just a hallway because of how much weed was in it.
It's unbelievable to the point where it's
Yeah.
like I don't even care about the weed anymore. It's like too much weed, and so they take us through here and they take us in there, and then I remember it because we took pictures in here. Me and Chan, you took pictures of
I
me
have-
and Chan
yeah.
on my iPhone that are us in the like when the plants are in their like first growing stage before they like. I don't know, move them to the dark or whatever. And so we're in there taking pics like in the jungle of weed, or whatever. And then, so we leave there and we walk and it's all four of us. And then Mariah, her husband, and there's a few stragglers, walking with us who are her staff members. And so we walk into this one room and it was fine at this point. It's all chill. It was all chill. Like I was like, oh, this is cool. Wow, that's so impressive. Never seen so much weed in my life. Da 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 da. And we walk into this one room, which I would say is like the drying room.
I don't know. I don't honestly. We didn't
To be
really
honest,
get that
I don't
far.
remember because we
Yeah.
walk in this room and Mariah, who's a 6-foot tall woman, dressed eccentrically,
Yeah.
with like sunglasses and a
Fur
coat-
vest.
Fur vest.
Fur vest.
We walk in this room and Mariah, who's been giving us the tour, she's like, "So this is," and she starts to tell us something. And I thought she was like motioning at Jay Brown's camera to tell him like turn off your camera or something. But it's so strange. It's me and Jay Brown and her, the only people in this room at this point.
And she starts stuttering.
She starts stuttering as she's talking to us.
She's like,
and then she falls from 6 feet in the air. She's
In the air.
from her height. She's tall.
Her head is 6 feet up.
Yeah, she falls and hits the cement ground with such a awful
Smack.
sound, a sound of skull hitting pavement. She collapses to the ground, smashes her skull on the ground, and begins Seizing?
No,
Am I wrong, or did I make that up?
She starts foaming,
Foaming at the mouth.
and her eyes roll into the back of
Twitching.
her head, and slowly a pool of blood starts
Begins
to collect
to-
behind
from
her
her
head,
head.
and she's out.
And
out
so
like
me
a
and
light.
Jay Brown are like,
freak the fuck
we
out.
freaked the fuck out because we're like, oh my god, I think we've established at this point that this woman is these people's hero, and we're
And honestly, in my mind, I was like, she just died.
I was sure she was dead.
Is dead right now. There's
That's
no.
what I thought. Her legs are like twitching like people when they
It
die.
was
As soon as I
like-
saw the blood, I was like, ooh.
I've never seen
lights
blood coming out from a
lights
skull.
out. Yeah. And she hit hard, man. I'll not forget that sound.
So it's just me and Jay, and dead Mariah. We think she's like dead, like
Right.
instant.
Well-
I don't know how she's not instantly dead, like when it happened.
We look at each other for a second, and you run outside, and you're like, we need some help in here right now.
Yeah,
We need
yeah.
you guys to come in here. And Jake runs in,
Yep.
and I'm looking for clean cloths or water or anything, and I think you yelled, get the kids out of here. And I yelled, we need to stop the bleeding or something like
Yeah,
something.
I mean, this is like a
survival
emergency
mode.
situation.
Survival mode.
I
yeah.
said I believe I said 911 or ambulance, which turned out it didn't seem like it was very welcome.
Well,
I was
Well,
like-
we'll
at
get into
first,
that.
though,
We'll
but
get into
At
that.
first, that was like one of the kids ran in and called the cops.
Well, so her daughter, who took charge in this situation, we've discussed if this situation became a sitcom, the second season would be the real beginning when the daughter takes over the weed business. But anyways, the daughter calls her grandmother and the ambulance
on the landline because there is no cell phone
because there's no cell phone service. So everybody's rushing in here. You know, the caretaker and her husband and the kids are like, "What happened to my
Mariah.
mom?" And I'm like, some bad. You know, I think she'll be okay. Da, da, da,
You
da.
got the kids out of there.
I'm trying to
You
get
were
because
like,
I'm
you
a
guys-
dad. I'm a
yeah,
dad, and I'm
exactly.
like, I'm looking at the kids right away. Like, what would I want my kids to think if something happened to my wife or whatever? So I'm like trying to console them and keep them calm. And this is where it started to get really
This
weird.
is when it gets weird.
This
I mean, this is fucking
It's
weird.
already fucking weird. We're already freaked out, and we kind of have this suspicion that like everybody might think me and Jay Brown killed her or something.
Well,
because we're
honestly,
the only people in the room.
That hadn't hit me yet. I was still just kind of freaking out until another random person came back in after it was established that the ambulance was called and said, "Wait, we can't call an ambulance right now. We need to get her the fuck out of here." And that's when I was like, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah, so
We're
we
in trouble
realized
right
like this is
now.
an illegal place, basically, or this
Right.
is not. This they don't want the cops here.
Right.
So, just to I guess kind of breeze through the end of this, we start hanging out outside.
No,
and we're
some
like,
woman asked us to get the fuck out of the.
get the fuck out
She's
of the
like,
room.
everyone who doesn't belong here, get the fuck out and close the door. And we all were outside.
So now we're all outside where we're freaking out. Me and Jay Brown just witnessed this, and everybody who works there is
chilling.
Is trying to downplay. They're trying to be like, no, don't worry, guys, everything's okay. Da 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 da.
We're asking if she's had any
Well, they're like, she
pre-existing
just fell.
conditions.
They're like, she just fell. And we're like, no, she did not just fall. Me and Jay
She-
Brown were in the room. She did not just fall.
Just have a shot
Yeah.
just have a
so,
shot.
so they're all like,
with Mandy.
no, man, everything's okay. No, I gotta beep out her
Mariah.
name.
Mariah.
Oh,
Mariah.
sorry. I
so
edit that out. Sorry.
I'll edit that out. So everybody's.
But they
so
did recommend that we do a shot with her at
Yeah.
one point.
Really?
Yeah.
hold the mic closer, Dave. You're like a microphone expert. Come on.
Sorry, I can't hear myself in my headphones.
And so everybody's trying to get us to chill. They're like, "Oh, don't worry. She just fell. She just fell. She did not just fall." Me and Jay Brown knew.
And the door was closed for like 15 minutes.
So
and
we
we were
think
like
she's-
surrounded by these
So
people.
we think she's dead. Somehow,
Mariah.
walks out of here, assisted by her people. But she walks out of there
Stumbling,
and
stumbling.
And so me and Jay Brown are
with
like
like
"Whoa,
crusty
she
ass
lives."
blood on the back of her head and
Dude,
shit. It was fucked
and
up.
everybody's trying to reconfirm to us that it's okay, guys. Everything's chill. Don't worry. And we're like, everything's not okay. You need to run. You need to
finish the tour.
Yeah.
Finish the tour.
Do you guys
Yeah.
want to finish the tour?
And we literally do.
We
finished
kept
the
going
tour.
through as she was stumbling in and out of these places. We went from shipping container to warehouse, going through and looking at the rest of their facility.
Went in the house and we looked at the cool.
Went in the house.
weed
She
pipes
literally
and-
had crusted blood on the back of her head,
And so
stumbling all over the place.
we're trying to still say, I'm pulling her husband. I'm like, look, she did not just
This is-
fall.
this
Like
is
you
not
guys
chill.
you guys need to take it seriously. Like you need to get her to the hospital. So the ambulance shows up now at the gates.
which they turned around.
Yeah, so they go up to the gates. The you know, the men of the house go up to the gates and they turn the ambulance away.
Yeah, they're like, you
like,
never were here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So the ambulance leaves, and now all four of us, I'd say, are sufficiently freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, because we can't leave either.
Because we can't leave either.
We can't just get in our car and dip, and we can't call anyone.
So, Dave, you got another?
I'm just gonna say, like, the dynamic here is that we're either thinking that if Mariah dies, that, you know, maybe they think we're responsible because we keep answering the same questions. People keep taking us aside, and they keep saying, "All right, we need you guys to tell us the story of exactly what happened."
She did not have epilepsy. We've established she has no seizures, nothing. So
I was like,
everyone was grilling us.
Does a dead body mean that the police come here and we are part of this because we're here with all these people in the middle of nowhere? Or do they think that we had something to do with, like, mugging her or something?
Or if they let us leave, are they going to be freaked out that we're going to go and tell someone what's going on? So are they going to let us leave? And if they do get rid of us, who the fuck will ever know what happened? Because we don't have an address. No one knows where we are. We can't call anyone. We're in the middle of fucking New Mexico, man.
Sorry, my bad. So anyways, so everybody's trying to, like, get us to stay at this point. Everybody's like, yeah, stick around and smoke some more weed. Da, da, da. I'm like, no, we need to get the fuck out of here. So they open the gates and they let us leave.
Right.
Even after we left, I still didn't think. I tried to convey, and shout out to her husband, because he was the only one who was taking me seriously, trying to say, like, look, something happened. She did not just fall. Like, you need to get her. Something happened. She has seizures. She had something. You need to get her to the. You know, my son has seizures. You know, or had seizures, and so I like recognized some of that. And so I'm trying to get him to take this seriously. I'm like, this is no joke. Like, this is, she did not fall. Yeah. You know, and so he took me seriously. And actually, a couple weeks later, sent me a really nice message, and I was happy to know that they got her checked out. She ended up being okay.
She survived.
But anyways, so we leave.
Yeah, this story is not even over yet.
So we leave, and we're about 45 minutes from civilization. From the nearest, like, gas station.
There was a moment when we left where we all were silent. And then we all looked at each other, and I think, like, we didn't even establish what we were doing, but everyone picked up their phones to call their wives and girlfriends and be like, but when we got to a place of service.
So hang on. So so we're driving. We drive for this is like a crazy part of the story. So we leave, and we drive, and we drive, and we drive. Must be about half an hour.
At least.
Finally, we're all hungry. We're all, like, exhausted, and we all want to text our wives and or girlfriends. And so I see a place that's like burgers and beer, and we're like, yup, pull in. We pull in. We all pull out our phones, and we're all sitting in the car in the parking lot of this place, who knows where in New Mexico. And I'm texting my wife like paragraphs of this whole story. You guys are all texting, and then we hear a knock at the driver's window at my window. And I look over, and it's the little boy from
the 10-year-old kid with the weed hat
from the farm. Turns out he just wanted to get an autograph on his hat, and he was, I don't know how they made it half an hour.
Did he though?
I don't know.
I think we were being followed to make sure we didn't go to any authorities. That's my theory.
You
in
think
retrospect, absolutely.
I don't think that at all.
Do you think
that they followed us nearly an hour?
Do you think they just followed us for an autograph, dude?
Yes, I think they did. I think it was
like, I
don't
know, man. I don't know.
But because the grandmother came and picked them up, the kids, and she was like, all right, let's get them out of here. I think they were driving to where she lives, and they were following us, obviously, because
really, what were they? It was like an old person and a child. I mean, I don't think. Do we really size up that small? Like, all right, you guys got to handle this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they were
send the old person and the child.
I'm just saying,
can handle all.
Like, as soon as
I mean, maybe, but
four of those
I just thought it was really strange.
As soon as I talked to the kid and I signed the thing for him and his sister, I was like, okay, that was chill, that's fine, and they went on their way, and we had beer and food.
Beer never tasted so good.
Yeah, it was amazing beer.
That was unbelievable.
And I remember the jukebox, and I remember I played one of my favorite songs of all time, Shania Twain, Every Man of Mine, which is a fucking jam.
I also think when we were all sitting down having beer at that restaurant, we all had this sort of moment of like, no one really had the words for it. We all sat around each other like, wow, that just happened. And every time we trailed into a conversation, every like 10 minutes, be like, that just happened, dude.
Dude,
we were very fortunate that
we got out of there.
Yeah, exactly how it went down.
Well, and that she survived. Because it's like if she
yeah,
does a big
exactly.
fall, it's like if she falls and dies, that's a whole nother scenario.
If she died, I don't know if we'd be having this podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just handing me like huge joints and beer all day. Like for me, I'm pretty laid back, but I saw no red flags until this moment. And then all of a sudden it was like, all right, these are the scenarios that could happen right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I'm kind of like checkmated by life right now.
So we'll have to do another podcast sometime where Chan like
weigh in.
Skypes in and gives us his like take because he'd have his own perspective. But so that's pretty much the New Mexico story. We're gonna leave it at that. And we got out of New Mexico. We flew out of El Paso. We all went our separate ways. Oh, we
check
should
out
say
the video.
I was gonna say we did get to shoot a video the next day. And the video is for the Spose song "Buy Now." And it's up on YouTube. Just search Spose "Buy Now," like you're gonna buy it, like you're gonna purchase it. Buy Now. And Jay crushed that video with very minimal props. It was very hot, and we were out in the desert. And I remember I couldn't see, like I couldn't keep my eyes open because it was so bright white.
Oh yeah.
And
The White Sands
National Monument,
Right.
Which is a nuclear testing.
One of the
site.
first nuclear testing facilities in the U.S. I think.
I was trying to get rid of all the weed before we had to go on the
Yeah.
plane, and I was in the middle of the
I
desert.
think it was at like a border check or a passport check. We like literally threw a bunch of weed, like a shit ton of
But I
weed out of the
smoked
car,
so
and
much
like
of
some
it.
of it fell in the back of the
I was
truck.
like hallucinating, playing my guitar in the middle of the desert. Like,
Oh yeah, you.
it was amazing.
You know the funny thing about weed people is people who like grow weed or sell weed are always like, oh, definitely you can bring this on the plane, man.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, I'm never.
They're like,
bringing,
just wrap it in tinfoil, man.
I was like, I'm not bringing a crumb of old weed in a crevice of my backpack on the plane. Like, fuck that
Yeah.
shit. I'm not trying. Airports are annoying enough. I'm trying to be in and out. I'm not trying to be like frisked.
Right.
Anyways, this concludes the first ever Spose podcast. I'd like to thank my guests Jay Brown and Dave Gutter.
Thank you again
Before
for
we
having
get out
us.
of here, could you guys talk about what you're up to now? We want people to know. Jay Brown, go first. The Rove Lab.
Just started this company with my good friend Gabe Bornstein, and it's called the Rove Lab. We're working on all kinds of cool stuff, both music videos and some creative commercial work. Check it out at the Rove Lab on Instagram.
Get it.
Wow, that was really
Good plug.
advertising.
That was a good advertising. Jay's not an advertiser.
I don't really do interviews.
Yeah, I was
much.
gonna say
This
you've been
is
getting Jay Brown to like big himself
You
up.
did
as
a
well.
really good
This is
job in his
kinda
podcast. He was saying he was excited on the way down. He's been listening to podcasts.
Yeah, all the time.
And you really did a great job.
Thanks,
Killed it.
man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Might have to do it
Appreciate that.
What are we
Dave,
talking
what do you
about?
got going on? Yeah, Dave Gutter.
I
what's
got
good?
the Beards project. We're doing like a episode every month with Shane Rise and Tommy Kane. I got new Rustic and new Armies records coming soon. As soon as I'm done tinkering with them, it's they're all masterpieces that
Beards
I
with a
can't
Z,
pull myself with an S.
with an S.
At the
not with a
Beards
Z.
Official and at We Are Armies.
Oh,
Whoa, bro! And at
fun.
Dave Gutter on like Twitter.
Are they-
At Dave Gutter.
On Instagram?
That's a hair plug.
So I don't know if other podcasts do this, but I came up with this idea. By the way, I'm Spose. Please subscribe to my podcast.
Whoa.
Yeah, right.
Do it.
So subscribe to it. I don't know how you do that, but do that. Check out Humans the album up on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. Whatever. I don't put it on SoundCloud because fuck SoundCloud. I'll get into that some other time. They don't really pay you. It's like, what's the fucking point? And then. I don't know if other podcasts do this, other musician or rappers podcasts, but I think every episode I'm going to play a song at the end. I'd like to, and I think the best way to do it for the new podcast is I'm going to play a new song that's not even out. So I'm going to debut a song on here. This song is produced by my man Decap, and it's called Back Down. And I don't know when maybe it'll never come out. Maybe it's only on here. Tell your friends. Spose Podcast. Peace. Back down. I won't back down. I know they wanna see me back down. I won't back down. Back down. Never back down. I know they wanna see me back down. Wanna see me back down. They wanna pull me back down. I won't back down. Never back down. Never back down. I never. I'm Tom Petty. Stand up and hell make it heaven. Hold up. They put up gates like Bill, like Kevin. Too high.
They thought I might chill, might quit it. What you drinking, NyQuil? I still might get it. Back down. Cause quitting, that's more common than conscious rap. Quitting, that's the reason that our aunts are fat. Quitting, I won't fold like a laundromat. I'm coming for the summer run and never fucking coming back down. And when I reach it, the biggest shit, I won't keep it, I'll teach it. I'll tell the people my secrets. I wanna raise a glass full of beer for my people still here. Vertebrae in the air if you never back down. I won't back down. I know they wanna see me back down. I'll never back down. Hey, I won't back down. I know you wanna see me back down. We'll never back down. They wanna pull me back down. I know they wanna pull me back down, but I'll never back down. I'll never back down. I'll never back down. Even if I'm doing crunches, you could give me $1, watch me turn it to 100. Everybody at the top, best alert them that I'm coming. Actually, shh, don't tell them that I'm coming. Oh no. That's him yonder, Maine monster at concerts who isn't Christian but make a population ponder how we lost a record deal and came back stronger. From the top floor said I'm coming back down. Cause my people on the ground, I'm like a steeple in a town. I'm allegorically, metaphorically what it means to stand up after getting smacked down. We're going up and never coming back down. I won't back down. I know they wanna see me back down. I won't back down. Cloud. Never back down. I know they wanna see me back down. Wanna see me back down. They wanna pull me back down. I won't back down. Never back down. Never back down. I'll never finish this song now and said it was my favorite. And then I put it out and everybody hated it. And then I dropped the album, nobody went to get it. And I lost all 20,000 I had invested. I back. Fuck no, back at it, yes, harder, get smarter in the limo with Timbo and S. Carter, that's my goal. I would bet every dollar in my cash flow that I could get down and get up. You know that Spose, never bitter or winner. I go from cash to cash cow, never quitting. My kids are getting big in the background. It's my office, my profits are all invested. That's how P-Dank to the top, never coming back down. I won't back down. I know they wanna see me back down. I won't back down. Never back down. I know they wanna see me back down, but I never back down. They wanna pull me back down. Back down. I won't back down. Background. Back down. Back down. Never back down. I'll never back down. Even when it all falls down, I'll never back down.